Hello, this is CurtisCroweThePhotoPro here, and what we're going to show you today is some tweaking you can do with photos using the import settings. So what we have here is we have a group of photos and videos that we are going to actually move over into Lightroom in the Library tab. And here's a list of all the photos here, and if you look at the bottom, it even has the videos, which are unselected, oddly enough, but we're going to go ahead and select those because we want to import those too. So let's go ahead and import all those. La da 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 da. Alright, so then we go ahead and hit the import button and we wait for this to go ahead and generate all the information it's going to generate, and then we can start going through the photos. Now if you look down here, you get to see that there's multiple modes. You have your larger view, which will go to a better picture. Let's go to this one. You have your compare, which allows you to obviously compare images. And you see here, boom. And then you can even use this feature, which is survey view, which honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I am not 100% aware of this feature, but it is one I do intend to dive more into and figure out exactly how it will benefit you. So we'll save that for another day. If we go to this bigger view, we can actually get a series of edits that we can do very quickly to improve a photo and make it look better on the fly. And it's very quick. So if you're trying to balance images, like we can go boom. Okay, that looks pretty close, and we might want to add a little bit more, less exposure, and drop the exposure here, and then you can just very quickly, and honestly auto-tune is pretty good, just go through here and make the changes you want very quickly. Now this isn't something I recommend doing on an import as much as right before you export, because right now we have a large amount of photos where we haven't done any of the hardcore editing yet. So what I like to do personally is I like to go ahead and figure out which ones I like, because right now we have 234 photos, and those 234 photos, it would take forever to go ahead, even though that this is much quicker, to go ahead and just mess with the exposure, clarity, and vibrance, especially once we go into develop and we may be changing those settings anyway. But if you wait to the end of the photo shoot and you have, instead of 234 photos, you might have, let's say, 40, 50, 60 photos that you actually want to keep and turn into favorite shots and well-edited shots and all that other jazz in order to send to the client. You can then go through those 60 photos and very quickly just balance the images to make sure that they are 100% where you want them to be, because you might get this photo looking the way you want, you might get this photo looking the way you want, you might get this photo looking the way you want, but then when you go through it at the end and you're going picture by picture by picture by picture, you might realize that even though they all look great, their exposure might be off from each other, or their saturation might be off from each other, and that causes a problem. For example, let's say they get a multiple photo frame where they have multiple of these photos in one frame, and this one looks brighter than that one and this one looks more colorful than that one. It's going to be very distracting for the viewer. So what I recommend, if you're trying to find ways to balance your images, go through that library tab and just run through the photos very quickly and add a little exposure, minus a little exposure, and go ahead and balance those images that way. Just super fast, bop, 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 click, 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 and you would be, I think you'll be really happy with the results, because you get every individual photo looking great, but if you want the whole shoot to look great, you want all the photos to be balanced and to look good and to look like they're all part of the same shoot, because you want them to all have consistency and exposure and vibrance and color temperature. So this is a great way for you to make sure all your color balances are right and make sure all your exposures are right for every photo to not only be individually judged, but to be also judged as a set. With 5 photos from, let's say, 3 different locations, you compare them next to each other, they might not look like they really fit well. Even though the content is all there and all the content does match, it may not look like that they were edited by the same person because, oh, this one's brighter, this one's darker, and all this other stuff. So I think I'm going on about this a little too long, but I can't stress enough exactly how important it is to make sure all your photos are well balanced, are looking good, and I hope you do give this a try. If you're looking to show a client the final photos and you're looking for just a little bit of extra finishing touch on there, a little extra polish, highly recommend you give this a try. Also, play around with the compare tool. You'll see that in another video, and I'll be sure to link that to this video once I have that up if you want to use the compare tool. Alright, well, that's about all the time I have for today. This has been Curtis Crowe, the Photo Pro, and as I always do, toodles.
Work. And that is invaluable, and I really wish every Canon camera had Wi-Fi, because that has been worth its weight in gold for me. And causes a blur effect from whenever that shutter opens to whenever it closes. Everything that moved in that moment is now captured as motion.
800 on this photo. I mean, we wanted to, but I feel like that's too harsh and that's going to do a disservice to the photo.